All right, welcome back. Welcome back to Unmuted. My name is Courtland Warren, and today we have episode 2. But if you listen to episode 1, you would know that this is actually episode 3 because I messed it up royally when we first got started. But I promised that this week would be improved. So, welcome back. I'm grateful for your time and for your attention. My ultimate promise to you is that I'll never record, I'll never go live, I'll never provide any information to you that one, I haven't prepared, and two, that I don't believe will support you in the highest way. The vision of Unmuted is a result of me in 20 years of personal development experience and large group awareness trainings, keynote speakings, and so forth, literally tens of thousands of people. And my biggest takeaway after 20 years was the recognition that there are extraordinary people just like yourself who are silenced. There are great ideas that we never hear about. There are wonderful businesses that never get started. There are books that never get written. There are songs that are never sang or performed because along the way, someone started to believe that they weren't quite ready yet. Or perhaps they questioned themselves with this notion of who am I to do something powerful and great, to quote Marianne Williamson. And so in those 20 years of experience, I recognize that way too many people are brilliant. There are great, wonderful ideas that we never get to experience. And I wanted to do a little bit to help uncover that, to support you in realizing your potential and knowing that you are enough just as you are and that nothing, absolutely nothing is missing. Today, in this episode of Unmuted, we will explore this question of how did I get here and how thoughts actually become things. I'll say to you up front that that my sharing today will not be. let me back up because I was just fixing my audio there again. I'll say this: you're not going to get anything out of what I have to share if you are a person who does not believe that you have a say in how your life unfolds. If you're a person who says that essentially life is happening to me rather than I am happening to life, then there's nothing that you will get or derive from this conversation. Not that I suggest that we are in control of all of the circumstances of our life. But if you're one who does not feel, at least to a degree, empowered enough to create and influence the outcomes of your life, then you'll get nothing out of what I'm about to say. If you're a person who believes that, but you would like to change it, or if you're a person who does have the audacity to believe that you have a say in how your life unfolds, then I believe that this conversation will be valuable. And so listen in. When I consider, I'm a person who I don't consider myself a hype guy. I am one who I've often said about myself that I am not a gimmick. I like principle. I like science. I like the laws that govern how things work and operate. I'm essentially an engineer for human transformation. I am one who can come in or likes to come in and understand the why behind an action or behavior. I am the person who, when I see someone do something that seems to be outlandish or a bit ridiculous, my thought pattern goes to what was the belief? What was the way of thinking that led to that action or behavior? Because I recognize that the law of cause and effect really does drive outcomes in our lives. That it's not magic, it's not miracle, it doesn't just happen. There is a cause for every effect. And as human beings, our cause that leads to effect is our thinking. And so we explore then how our thoughts become things. It is some of the most extraordinary exploration that you could do in your lifetime. I want you to take a moment and just kind of look around your space, your physical space right now. Whether that's you are driving in a car, you're at home, you're just getting ready to start your day. Perhaps you're already in the gym. But wherever you are, where you find yourself currently, I want you to look around your space and just notice some of the physical things, the items that are there. I have here a little bottle of peppermint spray. I use that for my throat because I spend a lot of time talking. Also on my desk here, there's a sleeve of my favorite golf balls. There's this contraption that when I bought, I was so excited about, DJI, kind of selfie stick holder thing. There's a microphone. I've got the Apple Watch that I never, wear because I don't like that when the battery goes out, it's absolutely pointless. But I want you to look around your physical space. And as you look around your space, I want you to note that what you're looking at beyond just the physical item itself, what you're looking at is an idea or a thought that was made real. Think about this for a moment. What you're looking at is first an idea in someone's mind. I remember when this particular golf ball by Titleist came out, it was all the rage. But it was actually an idea in an engineer or developer's mind before there was the physical manifestation of it. It's one of the reasons why I like to work with and coach entrepreneurs, because entrepreneurs, they are the individuals who are oftentimes working on a thing before the masses even know it's possible. You're doing that when, as an alchemist. The word alchemy is essentially about transformation. And a lot of times when I work with groups and individuals, I remind them that you are alchemists. You are creating outcomes. Things are being manifested from first your thought or idea. So when we ask the question or explore the question, how did I get here? The thing to really begin to do is unpack, explore, pull back the veil of your thought process. And what are the thoughts that have become real? What are the thoughts that have become things in your life and world? From the clothing that you have on, the chair that I'm sitting in, the device that I'm using to do this live stream, even the live stream idea itself was first a thought. Yes, I'm belaboring that point. I'm emphasizing, perhaps even overemphasizing that point, because unless you get that, then nothing else matters. And you'll never live an empowered life until you begin to see that your thoughts become things. Then you'll never really be conscious of what are the predominant thoughts and beliefs that you have. Speaking of the clothing that you have on, a friend of mine gave me some feedback on the last episode. I thought I had on a nice short sleeve Burberry t-shirt, and the feedback was, oh, I see you wore your baby shower, the man at the baby shower t-shirt. So now I tried to put I was so intimidated. I didn't even know that was a thing, right? You're making a joke. Like it was like your Burberry at the baby shower t-shirt. That was kind of mean, but I had to clear that because I'm wondering what the feedback is today. That said, okay, but even that, right? That's an idea first in the mind of the person. Okay. So your clothing, your computer device, your phone, whatever it is. So now let's look at then how I got here and how you got to where you are in your life. We're able to connect the dots when we look backwards. We're not able to connect the dots looking forward. Make sense? So we're not able to say, well, when I do this, it's going to lead to this, it's going to lead to this, it's going to lead to that, that's going to lead to this, and that is going to lead to that. Right? How often have you been disappointed with this great idea, this master plan you had that did not unfold in any way like you thought it would? But also look in your life. And when you look in your life, what are the things that you have? What are the things that are in your life currently that you're grateful for that actually unfolded in a very unexpected way? What are the ways of living that you have access to that were the result of, well, I met this person who introduced me to that person, who introduced me to that opportunity that led to this, that led to that. And then I started to see or wake up to this possibility in myself. And today I find myself here. Now, before or when it was getting started, I never would have thought it would become this. And yet here I am. I remember the first time it was during COVID, and I was first starting doing videos, and I was like, this idea of live stream was a foreign idea to me, foreign concept to me. But now I'm like, I'm excited about even doing a show weekly, perhaps even more than that. But that idea is becoming manifest, but not from looking forward. It's actually from looking backward. So then for you, well, we got to first understand, here's some of the science of it. And here's where it can get a little, it can get a little heady, but stick with me. I promise you, you're going to be able to understand it. So hold on to the end, okay? And I'll send you this framework. We may do a part one and part two because, I don't want to go beyond 30 minutes. We'll do a part one and part two if necessary. But if you'll email me at info@courtlandwarren.com, I'll get you this framework so you can see it by definition. Okay, so the first law that governs all existence, right? It governs everything, right? It's in control of everything that we're able to see, feel, touch, right? It is over everything, and that is the law of conservation of energy. The law of conservation of energy says essentially that energy is. And the definition actually stops right there. It says energy is, right? And it also goes on to say that it can neither be created nor destroyed. It can only change forms. Energy is, period. It can neither be created nor destroyed. It can only change form. So what it's getting at here, okay, is that everything is energy. And you've likely heard of that before. I'm right. I recognize that I'm sharing with intelligent people. You've heard that, but let's expand that idea. Energy is, everything is energy. So you can't include anything else into everything. Everything is everything. You can't add anything to everything, right? So this sleeve of golf balls, this peppermint spray, this device, right, is energy. Energy is. There's not anything that energy is not. When you look at it, it's energy. So the chair I'm sitting in, the clothing that you have on, the roof that you're under is energy, first and foremost. So the results that you attract into your life, or the results that are in your life, where you find yourself currently, in weight, in bank account, in relationship, in health. If energy is everything, then it's energy that's present in your life, right? Energy is. So we can take some of the mysticism out of it and say it's energy. My bank account is energy. My relationship is energy. My health is energy. Why? Because energy is. That's the first law. And then it goes on to say that energy can neither be created nor destroyed. It can only change form. Now, if that's true, and I believe it is, it can neither be created nor destroyed, it can only change form, then what is essentially saying is everything that I want for my life, everything that you want for your life is already present. I don't have to go out and create it. It's already here. Catch that. Catch that, right? So you're not going out into your life looking to create something that doesn't already exist. You're not looking to go out and make something entirely new. Doesn't that relieve some of the pressure? Doesn't that feel a little bit like a weight's been lifted off your shoulder? You don't have to go out and make it happen. You can't force it to come about because it's energy, and energy is. You can't create it or destroy it. You can only change the form that it's in. Okay, so now when we look at, the things that come into my life, I attract these things into my life. Why? Because that's the energy and vibration that I'm working on or living on, or to say it differently, that's the thought that I'm thinking. That's the energy that I give it. So energy is the first law. Then the second law is the law of perpetual transmutation of energy. And as I said, if you'll email me at info@courtlandwarren.com, I'll send you this with the 7 laws. We won't get to all 7 today. All right, so the law of perpetual transmutation of energy. That's a mouthful that just essentially says that energy moves into physical form. Another way to say it, thoughts become things. Why? Because the highest form of energy is an idea. The highest form of energy is a thought. I hope you're starting to get this, because I start to get excited, impassioned, and sometimes a little preachy, but I just want you to get it, okay? I'm not preaching at you. I'm not yelling at you. I just want you to get this, because the result of getting this is you having an empowered life where your ideas come to pass and your dreams become real, because you recognize that there's not a human out there that can stop you. Your thoughts become things because energy is, and the perpetual transmutation of energy says that essentially thoughts become things, okay? And the highest form of energy is a thought. right? The highest form of energy is a thought. Those items around your area, your physical space right now, okay? Those items, right? Those items are thoughts that became real. So I want you to take a moment and look into your relationship or the absence of relationship in your life. And I would say to people often, I say, if you are in a loving, trusting, committed, passion, inspired relationship, congratulations. Why? Because you created that. It didn't just happen. It wasn't magic. You created it through your thoughts. That thought became a thing. You then attracted what was consistent with the thought. If relationships in your life were the thing that just never seemed to work out, it's just relationship after relationship after relationship, their name changes, the face changes, but the result of the relationship is the same, I say, congratulations. Why? Because you created it. Right? See, until you recognize that it's through your power of thought that you are attracting into your life what is consistent with what you think about most predominantly, then you're victim to, right, or you carry with your victim consciousness, and you're not empowered to live the way that you are capable of and designed, frankly, to live. So your thoughts become things, the perpetual transmutation of energy. Thoughts become things. You think about it enough, you think about it predominantly, you emotionalize it, right? It becomes manifest in your life. I will assure you, even without knowing you, and even if we've never met, we can look into your life, and what shows up in your life and your attitude towards it is consistent with your most predominant beliefs about you, about other people, about life, and about the world. If you're a person who says or believes that you can't trust people, I will assure you that you attract into your life people who prove to be untrustworthy. It's not that all the people can't be trusted. It's that you're so powerful, you'll attract into your life what you most believe. So the law of perpetual transmutation of energy. That's the law of conservation. That's number one. The law of perpetual transmutation of energy says that energy moves into physical form. That's two. Then there's a third law, that is the law of relativity. The law of relativity says that nothing is either good or bad, big or small, right or wrong, positive or negative, until you compare it or relate it, law of relativity, until you relate it to something else. So everything just is until you make a comparison. Okay? So my life is my life. My life is bad compared to a person who's thriving and excelling. My life is good compared to a person who is struggling. You get the idea? But before there was a comparison, before I related to something else, it just is. One of my clients is a professional golfer, and we were out on the golf course just last week. And I've been noticing this in him for a while now. He really overly emotionalizes his bad shots, and good shots he just kind of expects it because, well, you know, I'm a professional golfer, right? But when he hits a bad shot, I mean, the way he berates himself and the way how harsh he is and how unkind he is to himself, the things that he says and things that he's thinking. And so I shared with him, I said, well, you know, the law of relativity, you're using it to your detriment. He's like, well, what are you talking about? I said, well, you hit a golf shot, and until you judge it, it's just a golf shot. And I noticed that when you judge your bad shots, you give unfavorable comparisons. He's like, well, what do you mean? I said, well, when the golf shot is the golf shot until you compare it to what other professionals do, then it becomes bad. It becomes horrible. It's horrendous. It's, you know, I'm terrible. I suck, whatever. Okay. But I noticed that when you hit a great shot, when you eagle or you birdie a hole, you give no emotion to it. So you got to understand that whatever you give emotion to, you attract more of into your life. So when you listening in as a high achiever, if you're a person who, when things go well, it's like, oh, no big deal. But when things go bad in your view, and you're very critical of yourself, just recognize that whatever you emotionalize, you get more of. You'll attract more into your life to give emotion to, because that's a form of energy. We'll get to that here in just a moment. Okay, so the law of relativity says essentially that nothing's either good or bad, big or tall, right or wrong until you relate it to something else. Here's why this matters for you as a creator. This is why this matters for you as an alchemist, is because oftentimes high achievers, what you tend to do is you relate yourself or you compare yourself unfavorably. You always find the thing or the person who's doing better than you are, and you see them on a pedestal, which means you got to bring yourself down. So when we relate ourselves unfavorably, when we give ourselves a relation that is not to our benefit, well, that leads to that leads to diminishing thoughts of less than, thoughts of I'm not good enough, thoughts of I'm not smart enough, thoughts of, I don't have the right skill, I don't know the right people, these limiting beliefs. So the unfavorable comparison leads you to limiting beliefs. Why does that matter? Because, well, those limiting beliefs, through the law of perpetual transmutation of energy, those thoughts become things. And the things that they become, why is that? Because energy is. So if it's in your life, it's not that it's good or bad, it's just in your life as a result of the thoughts that you've been thinking enough to have it become manifest or real, a thing in your life. Ooh, let me take a breath. I got about 8 minutes. Ooh, that thing just turned to 23. I got 7 minutes to get as far as I can go. All right, somebody's out there saying, then shut up and keep going. All right, so we got energy is. We got the law of perpetual transmutation of energy. Then we have the law of relativity. Well, then we have the law of vibration. Now, the law of vibration, the law of vibration speaks to the idea that our feelings are a conscious awareness of vibration. I told you it could get a little heady, all these little, scientific words, but I mean, not that, for some of you, it's not scientific at all, but others. Okay, so how do I do this? So the law of vibration, a feeling, how you feel, how I feel, is me being consciously aware of how I'm vibrating. A feeling is a conscious awareness of vibration. Okay, I feel I'm excited. I feel loving. I feel compassionate. I am displaying empathy. A feeling is me being consciously aware of what I'm vibrating on or what my frequency is. I'm pissed off. I'm angry. I'm sad. I'm depressed. That's me being consciously aware of the vibration. Why does that matter? Well, because that vibrational frequency is the energy that I put out into the world, right? That's the energy that I put into my relationship. That's the energy that I put into my sales call. That's the energy that I put into committee or conference meetings. That's the energy that I put out into my household. That's the energy that I put out into my community. How I'm feeling is an energy that I put out. And because of cause and effect, then I'll attract into my life whatever is consistent with or vibrates on that same frequency. Have you ever known people who they just always seem to be in the right place at the right time? It's because they have a frequency of vibration that attracts opportunities such as that to them. Have you ever known people who's like, no matter what, they're a day late and a dollar short. It's like no matter what, they just cannot seem to get a break. It is now you understand that is not some esoteric being who has it out for that person. There's no esoteric being that's picking and choosing who gets to win or lose. That's not what's happening. That individual has a predominant way of thinking that attracts those opportunities, those events and experiences to them. That's how powerful you are. That's how powerful I am. All right. So the law of vibration expresses that feeling is a conscious awareness of vibration. So why then is that an important law? Because, well, if I continually compare myself to things in ways that are unfavorable, that's going to lead to a feeling, that vibrates and attracts more of the things that perhaps I don't want. So I want to be aware of that. I want to be aware of the thoughts that I'm thinking. I want to be aware of how I'm feeling. I want to also notice the environments that I am in. Have you ever noticed how when you're in certain environments, you feel uplifted, right? Your shoulders go back, your chin goes up, your chest is out. You feel inspired, right? Do some things that put you in environments where you are inspired by being there. And then also take careful note and consideration to when you are in environments and along with people, places, things that actually bring your energy or your vibration down a bit. Okay, you got to be aware of that because you're responsible for what emanates from you. And then the next law is the law of polarity. Right, the law of polarity speaks to the idea that that in order for anything to exist, okay, in order for anything to exist, the opposite must exist also. And so with that, then there cannot be anything that is all good. And there's also nothing that's all bad. In order for anything to exist, then there must be the opposite. So when you find yourself down or resentful, or I look at my life and I don't like it, okay, or I feel sad or disappointed by what's happening here, then recognize that you have that viewpoint because you have an imbalance in your perspective. The law, not Courtland, the principle says that in order for it to exist, then the opposite must exist also. If it doesn't have both sides, then it can't exist on the planet. It can't be energy. Okay, it cannot exist. If you find something that has all of one thing and none of the other thing, it's not real and it cannot exist. So perhaps as you look at your goals, dreams, and aspirations, one of the things that can delay it is we have an unbalanced perspective of what it will be like once we get it. So when I get all the money, then all of my problems will go away is an imbalance in perspective and will continue to prolong its delivery into your life because you're asking for something that cannot exist because it would not be energy if it doesn't have both. Does that make sense? Is that resonating with you? All right, so how did I get here requires then being willing to take responsibility for what are the predominant thoughts that I've been thinking. If I'm going to answer the question, if I'm going to answer the question of how did I get here, it doesn't have to become something mystical and something foreign or something unknown. It's about really taking accounting of what are my predominant ways of thinking and believing. And we're not talking about the fleeting thoughts at the conscious level of mind. We're talking about the beliefs that have become ingrained over time. They're now subconscious and they run on automatic. We're talking about those types of beliefs. The types of beliefs that to really uncover, to unpack, and to absolve, right? Those ways of thinking must be attacked with precision. And it must be done seriously, intently, with deliberate work, because uncovering those ways of thinking that have been shaped by your life experiences, that have been shaped by events, that some, you don't want to revisit, some you don't even want to talk about. You live from this place of, well, I don't even want to go there, but understand that you must go there. You must go there because it was those events and experiences that have shaped your beliefs. It is those events and experiences that have shaped your ways of thinking, and then they became ingrained. And unless you're willing to do the work to go and unpack those ways of thinking, then you'll always be subject to however your life is operating without you knowing that you're empowered to do something different about it. That's the work that I do. And that's why I love it. I love working with people and identifying what was the event that created this belief structure. And now you get to see in your life that you're more powerful than you ever knew. And that what's showing up in your life is not random. God is not mad at you. You're not paying some karmic debt. What's showing up in your life is consistent with a belief that you have in place. And what's required is some, what I call belief alchemy, right? It's the alchemy of beliefs. It's the alchemy of your belief structure. And what's required then is you must reframe, reshape that event, retell that story to yourself. And as a result of doing that, your beliefs about you, other people, life, and the world will start to change. And now, as a result of that, what you attract into your life is different and is more consistent with the beautiful person that you are. Because indeed, I see you as a beautiful expression of God's wonderful imagination. How did you get here? Through your predominant ways of thinking. We explored, I think we got to 4 or 5. Energy is the law of perpetual transmutation of energy. We also covered the law of relativity, the law of vibration, and we looked at the law of polarity. Okay, so nothing can exist without the opposite existing also. You can't just have an unbalanced perspective. There are 2 more. We'll do like a to be continued, and then we'll roll into something else next week. I hope this helps. I hope this helps. What I wanted you to see is that what shows up in your life is not by accident. You're not paying some punishable price. You are in your life experiencing what you think about the most. Email us at info@courtlandwarren.com. We'll send you the 7 laws. If you feel called, if you feel like or led or inspired to work with me, my commercial is essentially this. First, get yourself on the email list. Pay attention to the things that I share. If those things resonate with you, I have Move the Room, which is coming up next week. You're welcome to register and be part of Move the Room. It's a public speaking course only because I think public speaking got people's attention. The first graduates of the course are individuals who recognize it was so much more than just a class on public speaking. We're not there looking at your ahs and your ums, right? We're exploring what's the way of thinking that's required for you to understand and embrace that you deserve to be out front in your life, that you deserve to be seen. That's what Move the Room is really about. And we uncover some of the beliefs that I was talking about here in today's episode in that 3-day event in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Starting in May. In May, I'm going to we'll introduce. Well, I'll just have a surprise. I don't like this run into a big commercial. That being said, hopefully you got value. If you did, don't keep it a secret. Let somebody know about it. The goal last week was to have 100 people listen to the first episode. We did 198 just before logging on. So if you were one of those people, I appreciate it. Again, if you got value, don't keep it a secret. Let someone know that this exists. This is Unmuted, a way for you to find your voice to live the life of your dreams. My name is Courtland. Thank you for your time and attention. We'll see you next week, Monday, 10 a.m. Central Time. Until then, be good. If there's anything that I said that resonates with you or you want clarification on, just send me a note and I'll work hard to answer your questions. Have a great day.